Hey, so I wanted to look at Adobe. Ticker symbols on the screen. We have ADBE. Uh, I do have some news items that I'd like to cover and then go into the technical analysis. So before we begin, though, I just want to look at the last time we looked at Adobe, and that was right here on June 7th. So on June 7th, we made this one red, meaning I didn't like the price. I thought it would pull back more. We had buy points marked at 324 and 360. So that's why it was red, very far away from the buy point. And also we noted resistance points of 442, which I thought was uh, a semi-strong resistance point, and also 510 I felt was a resistance point, hence why I made those ones bold. We also had 471, but we also noted that it was in an uptrend for the past 8 months, so we'll see if that continues into 9 months. We also noted to buy the dips on this. So uh, overall, it seems positive for this. Let's just see what's been going on. So again, Adobe, let's see what news has been going on. So starting from kind of the middle, it's just kind of how it came out. But Adobe beat its earnings last time they reported, so that's a positive sign there. We'll go over the next earnings at some point. Uh, we also noted that about a month ago, you can see how many days ago it was. It's kind of faint, but maybe we can see it here. Um, an Adobe insider sold about $17 million of shares, suggesting hesitancy. Of course, we don't know what that could be about. I mean, maybe he needed the money for a house. We don't know. But that's what they're insinuating here. Again, that was a month ago. So that kind of matches up with what I said, that I felt like it was kind of near resistance. So this person felt like it was a high time to buy or sell. So that kind of is lining up with what we said. And then at the bottom, it looks like Adobe had a deal in place with this company called Figma, which I'm vaguely remembering that name. But apparently, EU regulators are uh, thinking of blocking this or just want to know more about it. Uh, so this seems overall positive. They're looking to acquire something. I wish I knew more about Figma. If anyone uh, does know more, please feel free to let me know in the comments. It would save me some time to dig into it. I have to imagine they're somehow compatible with Adobe, some sort of software possibly. Um, well, let's just keep going. So here, starting at the top, and we're going to work down. Adobe, again, this is 25 days ago. Uh, BMO, some capital management company, they raised their what they thought Adobe was worth, and I looked into it. Uh, they said 570. That is crazy. Um, and so a positive sign there. I guess what I'm hinting at here, I'm just going to show it a little early. This is where it is right now. It's run so much. We looked at this on 6-7. Yeah, so right here, um, since then, it's gone up a lot more in that period, a lot more than I thought. I thought it was going to pull back, but clearly this one went on a big run. So I just wanted to show that. So this person said they thought 570. So clearly we just missed that. Had this been a different time, maybe we would have caught that and bought in on this. But timing, we missed this one, possibly. Uh, so again, that's a positive thing. So good. That's again why we're tracking this. We want companies that have these good news items. And then a couple articles came out about how, again, the UK is going to kind of hold up this deal between Adobe and Figma. This article mentions how uh, I guess it could impact the digital economy in a harmful way. Uh, Not sure how that will play out. It also mentions how they're just going to dig deeper, and this actually, the article says may dig deeper. I don't think I share it on a future article, but I can tell you they are digging deeper. It's not they may dig deeper, it is they are digging deeper. Uh, I, this just kind of reminds me of the Activision deal with Microsoft. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I don't recall um, if that's still in the works or has been canceled, but this is very similar to that. Um, so, if this, and I'm bringing this up because as we saw, the stock went up pretty significantly, considering this stock was like $400 to go from 4 to 5. I mean, that's a pretty big move for a company like this. And to hear, okay, there was the price target adjustment, which went way up. Don't get me wrong, it went way up. So that's definitely a good thing to have expert people say that. That's a big positive. But I'm wondering if people saw that this Adobe Figma thing was going through, how much is that getting propelled upwards because of that? Because here we are, it's now running into a hurdle, and what's going to happen if this deal doesn't go through versus if it does? Because again, is this pushing forward so quickly because people are assuming it's going to go through, and then if it does that mean it's just going to grow a little bit more because already so many people jumped in, compared to if all of a sudden we find out it's canceled, everyone was banking on it going through, all these people, like $100 worth of stock price, but then all of a sudden it doesn't go through. Does that mean it's going to pull way back down to like the 300s where we were aiming to get in on this? Uh, I guess we'll see. Uh, we'll take a look at the technicals to kind of readjust our situation. But the last news item I have here is Adobe's Firefly has expanded globally, supporting prompts in over 100 different languages. So very cool, having their product be more widely accessible worldwide. I mean, that's just a good thing to have too. So that's pretty much the news. Before we transition into the technical analysis, again, if you want to add anything, because I know I briefly went over these items, if you want to add any more insight, uh, feel free to do that. It'd be very helpful to, just add to the pool of knowledge here. Um, oh, yeah, and I guess if you have any questions, feel free to ask me and I'll do my best to answer them. Uh, but yeah, so going back to the technicals, so here we are. Again, last time we looked at this was on June 7th. So if we zoom in, that's right around here. I have 432 marked. So that was right here at the bottom, I guess, or somewhere in this range. Since then, like I said, it took a big step forward from 432 all the way up to like 500. And then it actually kind of slowed down. Now it's at like 514. But yeah, it just took a very big step. Um, both the week of June 9th and then June 16th, it really popped. And then it kind of pulled back, and yeah, now we're still kind of on the way up. So whenever I take a step back, uh, let's just address the buy points we had. So we had 324 and 360. So 324 is down here, that green line. We marked that because it was a support line. Going back to November of last year, uh, anytime it got near 324, it wouldn't go below. So we like that point, but we also noticed that it started getting this uptrend going back to October of last year. We noticed that it started to get lower, or I'm sorry, higher lows, and so we marked it out. And we also started seeing higher highs too. So we marked out in yellow here uh, this trend line. And so again, going back to June 7th, um, we also noted 360. 360 was the bottom yellow, the bottom point on the yellow for that week. Fast forwarding to this week, that 360 is really like 372. So I'm just going to update that. And I guess I'll go one more week ahead, which just changes it to 374. So I'm just going to update 360 to 374 because that's keeping track of, that's the bottom of that yellow uptrend, and then our green line for support. We also had resistance at 442. So that's the bottom red line. We marked that because once it passed 442, it's got rejected there twice in the more recent, or like initially, I guess. So back in June and August of 22. Couldn't get above it since then. Hasn't come close until just recently in June. It's I think that was the other. So that's why we marked this one red right off the bat. Um, we saw that it was very near that red line that acted as resistance again. Going back here, 2 points where it couldn't get above. Here we were again. We thought it was going to get rejected. We definitely thought it was going to get rejected, not only because that was a point of resistance, but also because we believe that that yellow trend line was active. We thought that was going to continue on for, the rest of the year. And I can tell that because when I look at where I was projecting for this was the second quarter, this was the third quarter, that was our projection. We thought it was going to hang out in that yellow zone. So that's why I said no to this. We also had a resistance point at 471. That's this light red, and then 510. So that's those three red lines that we just covered. This 471, again, it crossed through 471. It tried to get above a couple times, couldn't do it, but only for a small period of time. So we marked it light red. We technically could probably have marked the 442 light red because in a short period of time it did get rejected. So we could have, but either way, it was resistance. There was resistance noted. And then 510. 510, that was, I mean, we can see right here. So going back to 2020, for whatever reason in 2020, it took pretty much a year. It couldn't get above that point. And then most recently in 22, when it pulled back below 510 again, yeah, I mean, it got above to about 520, but ultimately it fell back below. And so those three lines were kind of key, at least I thought. And here we are again. We're back at 510, 520 range. So it definitely makes sense how I was seeing it. But one point I want to bring up is, what is this? Okay. There was the one news article with BMO, this capital management company. They put a price target of 570 on this. And when they put the price target on, again, that was probably early June. So here, it was right around the last time we updated, which was June 7th. So they updated maybe the beginning of the June 16th week. So we'll go with that. So from, again, they're saying 570. That is their target price for 1 year into the future. So if we go to about mid-June of 2024, let's pick out that date. I'm going to put a vertical column. Oh, man. So I'm going to put this vertical column in around, again, mid-June of next year. And we're going to try to intersect it, if possible, at 570. So 570 is right here-ish. Whoops. I don't know if I made that straight. That's good enough. It's probably not perfectly straight, but 570, right at that intersection. I'm going to make this a little thicker just so we can see it a little better. And I'm going to make this, we'll make that blue. We'll make this point of interest blue. And again, so that's the BMO point. Let's make this thicker also. Okay, so 570. So there's a couple other lines that I want to just go through briefly here. We have this lower purple uptrend and this higher purple uptrend. So again, how we do this is the purple uptrends are the more recent one, or when I say the more recent, I mean the longer one. So they started first, like they get priority. The yellow, you can see it just started in like September of 22, but it's the second one. I mean, technically we should have this thinner set of purple lines. That's truly the first trend that we noticed. Then we have this more inclined purple trend where it kind of, I think it just over accelerated truly. And that really should be the second one. So that one should be gold. And then the current gold one should be, I don't know, like just a different color. I'm not sure what color do we have for it. I guess we could do like a gray or something. But I'm going to leave it as is because basically what it looks like now is purple is like long-term, yellow is short-term trends that we're seeing. And so I'm actually comfortable getting rid of the steeper purple. I am going to keep them in just for a little bit longer, but those are probably going to get taken out. It's more so this purple, the thinner one that has a slightly lower slope. That one started in 2016. Ultimately, it did break in 2020, where I think what happened was it was getting over purchased, driving the price way up. And then all of a sudden we saw this crash where it really, I'm guessing it overcorrected. It overcorrected, again, just going straight through that purple long-term uptrend that we had. It overcorrected, pulled all the way back, and now if we zoom in, I didn't think it would happen this fast because, again, I thought it would just continue with that yellow uptrend where it would just, eventually the yellow would turn into the purple. It's just, it would take maybe probably until like 2025. Like it would be more long term. Clearly that's not what happened. What I'm guessing is happening here is it's going to get back in this uptrend pretty quickly. Again, I guess it's kind of too soon to say, but that's what I'm imagining is going to happen here. So I guess just to take a step back, let's just update the tracker here to show. I guess I want to start with the note. So I'm going to say we have it's below long-term uptrend that began in, what was it, 2016? Is that what we said? Or, yeah, so January of 2016. It's outpacing the short-term uptrend that began in, what is it, October of 22. And then we also noted to buy dips. That's still true. It's just strategy's changing a little bit here. And then in terms of currently, what is it trading at? So 514. The buy points that I'm looking at now, based on where it is and how it's acting, um, I'm gonna raise it to 442. Uh, so I'm gonna update this to a red line. I think it really should be blue. I'm gonna change that to blue because number one, it has some support type of activity, but also resistance activity. And that's why it's blue. Blue's kind of like a fair value spot, or if I find a spot that has a little bit of both, I'll make it blue. So 442 is a buy point, so I'm just going to add it for now. I didn't remove anything yet. Another point I like is if it's going to act like I think, what we should do is put in 533. 533. And what did I say? 442. Wow. And it's a 514. That's nuts. Okay, so I guess I'm going to leave all those points in for now. The point that I'm going to focus on primarily, though, is 442. So just so we're all on the same page, and I'll show this at the very end. So the points of interest are here. I'll zoom in a little bit. We have the bottom of this purple trend, so 533 I put. Then we have this blue line here, 442. That is the point that I would actually pick this one up. So clearly it's gone up a lot, but we're just rolling with it. So 442 is my first point of interest. The next one, if it were to pull back, I'd probably wait until about 374. That's what we're putting down. And then 324 is like the ultimate. If it were to come back all the way to that green point, yeah, 324, if I'm buying one share here, one share here, that green point, I'm buying like 3 or 4. Like, that would be how exciting it would be. Resistance. So at this point, the way we're playing it, resistance points are the top of this uptrend, which is 586. So I'm going to add that. So we have 586. 510, I'm going to keep that in. I'm going to keep 510 as a bold because I want to see how that plays out. 471, I'm going to remove 471. There wasn't too much resistance behind it. It's not a primary spot. I'm just going to take that one out. 442, in terms of resistance, yeah, I guess I'll leave that in, especially because I'm going to leave in the 300 figures. So I'll leave in 442. The point of concern, though, is 510. The other ones, yes, they're there, but I'm focusing on 510. I'm also going to update the date to today. And then the note, yeah, the note is fine. And then in terms of, I'm going to leave this one red for now. Yeah, I need to get a better understanding. I know it's doing good, a lot of positive things around this one, but for it to jump that fast, just really on some news, the upgrade is one thing, but the new, I don't know. And yeah, so then this point that this analyst pointed out, 570. So if I were to stretch out this gold line, I'm trying to keep it good. Let me bring that down just a little bit. Okay. And then this trend line, I guess we don't need to bring this out, but I will. So that would be right around here. So 570, it's not a bad spot in all honesty. It would be on the upper half of that short-term uptrend and just below the long-term uptrend. So that's a pretty good spot. I mean, the worst case I could see this one doing is he said 570, it could be 500. Pretty big miss in all honesty, but based on where it was when he made the call, of about like 460, uh, that's pretty good. You know, it's not bad. Um, yeah, I don't disagree with that point. For right now, the one last thing that I'll do, because we completely whiffed on second quarter. I mean, we thought it was going to pull in there. What I am going to do for this is based on where it's. Oh man, help me out. Based on where it is, why is this not recognizing it? What the heck? I don't. Gosh, you have to like be perfect with that thing. But yeah, based on where it is right now, I think it's gonna. My guess is it's gonna trade sideways for a little bit. Uh, we'll see. That one's not perfect. I don't get that. This should be over a little bit to there. I guess. So I'm gonna give it a pretty wide range. I'll give it to there. That's a pretty big window. But we'll see. Yeah, I'll try to zone it in. That's just such a big window. I don't like that. From That's like $100 window. I guess I'm gonna be conservative. I'm gonna guess it's gonna hang out in this range, consolidate for a while, um, but we'll see. So that wraps this up. Let me just do the quick recap here, and then we'll sign off. So Adobe here currently is trading at 514. We have buy points marked at 324, 374, 442, and 533. 442 is bold because that's my spot of interest. If it were to pull back to there, that's when I would look to buy until we, learn more about this company. But as of now, that's my buy point. Resistance we have marked at 442, 510, and 586. The point of interest is 510. It's consolidated there for over a year in recent history, like the past 3 years. So it's at 514. Right there, it's right in that range. I want to see how the next week or two goes, see if it continues upwards or if it, consolidates again for a little bit. We did note that in terms of this long-term trend, which was the purple lines, which we spent some time on, that began in January 2016. In terms of that long-term uptrend, it's actually right below the bottom of the trend. So if you're looking at that and giving it priority, it would make sense to pick it up now while it's still below that. If you're giving more priority to the short term, that the yellow uptrend, um, then it's way above that. It's way over exceeding that. We wouldn't want to touch it because it's so far outpacing what it should do. So clearly, there's, you know, it all depends on how you're looking at it. Whichever spin you want to put on it. Again, my spin is I'm just gonna wait. I think it might consolidate and possibly pull back. So I'm looking at 442. Uh, yeah, if you want to share your buy point, your resistance point, maybe a reason why too, that'd be very helpful. Um, but yeah, again, if you want to add any insights or if you want to ask a question, I'll do my best to answer it. And yeah, please like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.